There is a massive misconception in the gardening world. Most beginners believe growing food requires endless patience, a massive backyard, and months of waiting. They picture staring at a pot of dirt, waiting 90 days for a tomato to ripen, only to get frustrated and give up. But what if you could plant a seed today and harvest a bowl of fresh food before this month is over? There is a secret category of hyper-fast growing crops. While others wait for their plants to just produce flowers, you could already be harvesting crunchy roots, vibrant greens, and tender shoots. And the best part? You don't need an acre of land. Every plant on today's list thrives in containers, making them perfect for balconies and urban apartments. Today, we are counting down the top 15 fast-growing container vegetables you can harvest in 40 days or less. Stick around for our number one spot, where I'll reveal a crop that goes from a dry seed to your dinner plate in under 10 days. If you're ready for fast results, hit subscribe and let's dive in. At number 15, we have baby Swiss chard. If someone showed you a container full of bright red, yellow, orange, and pink stems, you might assume it was an ornamental plant. In reality, it's one of the fastest and most productive leafy vegetables you can grow. When harvested young, Swiss chard can often be ready in about 35 to 40 days, making it an excellent choice for gardeners who want quick results without sacrificing beauty. Unlike many fast-growing greens that look nearly identical, Swiss chard brings incredible color to a container garden. Even at the baby leaf stage, the stems begin displaying the vibrant shades that made this vegetable famous. A single pot can look more like a decorative flower arrangement than a source of food, yet every leaf is completely edible. The real advantage comes from how quickly those leaves develop. Swiss chard germinates readily, establishes itself fast, and begins producing harvestable foliage within a few weeks. At the baby stage, the leaves are tender, mild, and much less earthy than mature Swiss chard. They're perfect for fresh salads, sandwiches, wraps, or quick sautés. Container gardeners especially appreciate how forgiving the plant is. Swiss chard tolerates cool temperatures, adapts to changing weather, and continues growing even when conditions aren't perfect. Unlike some delicate greens that bolt at the first sign of stress, Swiss chard tends to keep producing steadily, giving beginners a much higher chance of success. To maximize production, harvest only the largest outer leaves while leaving the center untouched. This allows the plant to continue generating fresh growth from the middle. Many gardeners are surprised by how quickly new leaves appear after each harvest. One container can often provide multiple rounds of greens before the plant ever reaches full size. Perhaps the most remarkable thing about baby Swiss chard is that it delivers two rewards at the same time. First, you get a fast harvest in little more than a month. Second, you get one of the most visually striking vegetables in the entire garden. Few crops can turn a simple container into a display of color, while also filling your kitchen with fresh greens just weeks after planting. At number 14, we have baby spinach. Few vegetables have earned a reputation for being both nutritious and easy to grow, quite like spinach. The mature leaves found in grocery stores often take time to develop, but when grown as a baby leaf crop, spinach becomes one of the quickest harvests you can get from a container garden. In many cases, gardeners can begin picking tender leaves in as little as 30 to 40 days. One reason baby spinach is so popular is its versatility. The young leaves are mild, soft, and far less earthy than mature spinach. They can be eaten fresh in salads, blended into smoothies, added to sandwiches, or tossed into cooked dishes right before serving. Because the leaves are harvested young, they're often at their sweetest and most tender stage. Spinach also fits perfectly into container gardening. It doesn't require a deep pot, grows well in cooler weather, and can produce an impressive amount of foliage in a relatively small space. A single container can hold dozens of plants, creating a dense canopy of edible leaves within just a few weeks of sowing. The key to continuous harvests is timing. Rather than waiting for the entire crop to mature, many gardeners begin harvesting individual outer leaves as soon as they're large enough to use. This encourages the plant to keep producing fresh growth from the center, while extending the overall harvest period. Another advantage is how quickly spinach transforms a container. During the first week, it barely seems to change. Then suddenly, growth accelerates. What looked like tiny seedlings can become a thick patch of lush green leaves almost overnight. That's one reason spinach remains a favorite among beginner gardeners. It delivers visible progress fast. Perhaps the most impressive thing about baby spinach is how much food can come from such a small amount of space. A container sitting on a balcony or patio can provide multiple bowls of fresh greens long before most larger vegetables are even getting started. At number 13, we have baby Bok Choy. If you've only ever seen large mature heads at the grocery store, you might not realize how quickly Bok Choy can grow when harvested young. As a baby vegetable, it often reaches harvest size in around 30 to 40 days, making it one of the fastest growing members of the cabbage family. Unlike many leafy greens that are harvested one leaf at a time, baby Bok Choy produces compact miniature heads with crisp stems and tender leaves. The result is a vegetable that offers both texture and flavor in a remarkably short period of time. The white stems stay juicy and crunchy, while the leaves remain soft and mild. Container gardeners love baby Bok Choy because of its efficiency. The plants stay relatively compact, allowing several to be grown together in a single container. Their upright growth habit means they make excellent use of limited space, which is especially important for urban gardeners working with balconies or patios. One reason baby Bok Choy grows so quickly is that it doesn't need to reach full size before becoming useful. Many gardeners harvest the entire plant when it's only 6 to 8 inches tall. At this stage, the texture is at its best, and the flavor is wonderfully mild, without the stronger notes sometimes found in mature brassicas. For the fastest results, consistent watering is important. Bok Choy grows rapidly when moisture levels remain steady. Given adequate water and cool temperatures, seedlings can seem to double in size from one week to the next. Perhaps the most satisfying thing about growing baby Bok Choy is the harvest itself. After only about a month, what began as tiny seedlings turns into perfectly formed miniature heads that look like something from a professional market garden. Few vegetables create such a dramatic transformation in such a short amount of time. At number 12, we have loose leaf lettuce. If there is one vegetable that perfectly demonstrates the advantage of container gardening, it might be loose leaf lettuce. Fast-growing, productive, and incredibly easy to harvest, this classic salad green can often provide its first harvest within 30 to 40 days of planting. Even better, a single container can continue producing for weeks when harvested correctly. Unlike head lettuce, which requires time to form a compact center, loose leaf varieties focus their energy on producing leaves as quickly as possible. This means gardeners don't have to wait for a fully developed head before enjoying the harvest. As soon as the outer leaves reach a usable size, they can be picked and brought straight to the kitchen. One reason loose-leaf lettuce remains so popular is its consistency. The seeds germinate quickly, the plants establish rapidly, and the growth is easy to monitor. Every week brings noticeable progress. What begins as a tray of tiny seedlings can become a dense container overflowing with fresh greens in little more than a month. Container growing is especially effective because lettuce doesn't require deep soil. A relatively shallow planter can support a surprisingly productive crop. This makes it an ideal choice for balconies, patios, windowsills, and any other small growing space where every inch matters. To maximize harvests, experienced gardeners rarely remove the entire plant. Instead, they harvest the largest outer leaves while leaving the center intact. This simple cut-and-come-again method encourages continuous growth and can provide multiple rounds of harvests from the same planting. Perhaps the greatest strength of loose-leaf lettuce is its reliability. It may not be the most exotic vegetable on this list, but few crops deliver so much fresh food so quickly. For generations, gardeners have relied on it as one of the fastest ways to turn a handful of seeds into a bowl full of fresh greens. At number 11, we have cilantro. Most people know cilantro as a culinary herb, but many gardeners underestimate how quickly it can become harvestable. Under favorable conditions, young leaves can often be picked within about 30 to 40 days, making cilantro one of the fastest flavor-packed crops you can grow in a container. Unlike many vegetables that are valued for volume, cilantro is valued for impact. A small handful of leaves can completely transform a dish. From tacos and salsas to curries and soups, cilantro delivers a burst of fresh flavor that few herbs can match. That's why having a container growing just outside the kitchen door can be surprisingly useful. Cilantro performs particularly well in containers because it allows gardeners to control growing conditions more easily. The plant prefers cooler temperatures and consistent moisture, both of which are easier to manage in a pot than in a crowded garden bed. When conditions are right, seedlings grow quickly and begin producing usable foliage in just a few weeks. One of the best strategies for extending the harvest is to pick leaves regularly while the plant is still young. Waiting too long can encourage flowering, a process known as bolting. Once cilantro begins focusing on seed production, leaf growth slows dramatically. Frequent harvesting helps keep the plant productive for longer. Another advantage is how little space cilantro requires. A small container can hold several plants, providing a steady supply of fresh leaves without occupying much room. This makes it one of the most practical herbs for apartment dwellers and urban gardeners. Perhaps the most fascinating thing about cilantro is that it offers two completely different harvests. First come the fragrant leaves that are used fresh in countless recipes. Later, if allowed to flower and set seed, the plant produces coriander, one of the world's most widely used spices. Few fast-growing crops provide two distinctly different culinary ingredients from a single planting. We are officially breaking into our top 10. So far, we've covered some incredible leafy greens and herbs that can fill your salad bowl in no time. Before we continue, let me know down in the comments, which of the first 5 crops are you most excited to try? I read every single one. As we move into the next section, things get even more interesting. If you thought fast-growing vegetables were only limited to leaves, our next plant is going to completely change your mind. At number 10, we have bush beans. When people think about vegetables that grow quickly, they usually imagine leafy greens. Bush beans prove that you don't have to settle for leaves if you want a fast harvest. When grown from ultra-fast varieties under good conditions, they begin producing tiny, tender young pods in just about 40 to 45 days. By harvesting them early at the microbean stage, you get one of the fastest fruiting vegetables you can grow in a container. Unlike pole beans, which spend weeks climbing before they begin producing, bush beans stay compact and focus on setting pods early. That makes them ideal for gardeners who want quick results without installing trellises or support structures. A medium-sized container can hold several plants, creating a surprisingly productive mini bean patch in a very small space. One reason bush beans are so satisfying to grow is that the transformation happens quickly. During the first few weeks, they develop into neat green plants covered with healthy foliage. Then, almost suddenly, flowers begin appearing. Those flowers are soon followed by clusters of slender green pods that seem to grow larger every day. For the fastest and most tender harvest, many gardeners pick the pods while they're still young. At this stage, the beans are crisp, sweet, and exceptionally flavorful. Regular harvesting also encourages the plants to continue producing new pods, extending the harvest window and increasing overall productivity. Bush beans are also surprisingly beginner-friendly. They grow well in containers, don't require deep soil, and generally experience fewer problems than many larger fruiting crops. As long as they receive plenty of sunlight and consistent watering, they often reward gardeners with a generous harvest only a few weeks after planting. Perhaps the most exciting thing about bush beans is that they deliver something many fast-growing vegetables don't: abundance. A handful of seeds can quickly turn into dozens of pods, giving gardeners a harvest that feels substantial rather than symbolic. For anyone who wants to grow an actual vegetable crop, not just greens, within 40 days, bush beans are hard to beat. At number 9, we have baby kale. Kale has developed a reputation as a superfood, but what many gardeners don't realize is that you don't need to wait months to enjoy it. When harvested young, baby kale can often be ready in about 25 to 30 days, making it one of the fastest leafy vegetables on this list. At the baby stage, kale is very different from the large, mature leaves many people are familiar with. The leaves are softer, more tender, and noticeably milder in flavor. This makes them ideal for fresh salads, sandwiches, smoothies, and quick cooking. Even people who find mature kale too strong often enjoy baby kale. Container gardeners appreciate how efficiently kale uses space. The plants grow upright, tolerate cooler weather, and can be grown relatively close together when the goal is harvesting young leaves. In just a few weeks, a container can become densely packed with vibrant green foliage ready for harvest. One reason baby kale grows so quickly is that it doesn't need to develop a large structure before becoming useful. Gardeners can begin harvesting when the leaves are only a few inches long. This dramatically shortens the time between planting and eating, which is exactly what makes it so attractive for quick harvest gardens. To maximize production, many gardeners use the cut and come again method. By harvesting only the largest leaves and leaving the growing center intact, the plants continue producing fresh foliage. This allows multiple harvests from a single sowing while maintaining rapid growth. Perhaps the most remarkable thing about baby kale is the balance it offers between speed and nutrition. Many vegetables grow quickly, but few combine fast harvests with the dense nutritional profile that kale is known for. In little more than a month, a handful of seeds can provide an impressive amount of fresh, nutrient-rich greens right from a container on your patio or balcony. At number 8, we have arugula. If speed were the only thing that mattered, arugula would rank much higher on this list. Many gardeners begin harvesting baby leaves in as little as 20 to 30 days, making it one of the quickest salad greens you can grow in a container. But what truly sets arugula apart isn't just how fast it grows, it's the flavor. Unlike lettuce or spinach, arugula brings a distinctive peppery kick that can instantly transform a salad. The younger leaves are mild and slightly nutty, while older leaves develop a stronger, more intense flavor. That's why many experienced gardeners harvest arugula early. Not only does it shorten the growing time, but it also produces the most balanced taste. Arugula is almost perfectly designed for container gardening. Its shallow root system doesn't require deep soil. It germinates quickly, and it grows densely enough to make excellent use of limited space. Even a small container can produce a surprising amount of fresh greens within just a few weeks. One reason gardeners love arugula is the instant gratification it provides. After planting, seedlings emerge quickly and begin putting on noticeable growth almost immediately. Every week brings a visible difference. Before long, the container is filled with jagged green leaves, ready for harvest. To keep the crop productive, most gardeners harvest the outer leaves first and leave the center growing. This cut-and-come-again approach encourages fresh growth and can provide multiple harvests from a single planting. Some gardeners even sow a new container every couple of weeks to maintain a constant supply throughout the season. Perhaps the most surprising thing about arugula is its history. Long before it became popular in modern salads, it was cultivated by the Romans, who valued its distinctive flavor and rapid growth. More than 2,000 years later, gardeners are still growing it for exactly the same reasons. It's fast, productive, and packed with character. At number 7, we have red amaranth. If most fast-growing vegetables are shades of green, red amaranth is the dramatic exception. With vibrant crimson and burgundy leaves, this plant can turn an ordinary container into one of the most eye-catching features in an entire garden. Better yet, it grows incredibly fast, often reaching harvestable size in around 25 to 30 days. Many gardeners first notice red amaranth because of its color. The leaves provide a striking contrast to the greens typically found in vegetable containers. But this plant isn't just decorative, it's also highly productive, producing tender young leaves that are harvested as a leafy vegetable in many parts of the world. One reason red amaranth grows so quickly is its vigorous nature. Once seedlings become established, growth accelerates dramatically. A container that looked nearly empty one week can become filled with colorful foliage the next. This rapid development makes it one of the most rewarding crops for gardeners who enjoy seeing fast progress. The young leaves are typically harvested when they're still tender. They can be eaten fresh in salads or lightly cooked in stir-fries, soups, and sautés. At this stage, the flavor is mild and pleasant, making it an easy addition to a wide range of dishes. Container gardeners also appreciate how adaptable the plant can be. It tolerates heat better than many cool-season greens and continues growing actively during periods when some other leafy vegetables begin to struggle. That resilience makes it especially useful for gardeners looking for reliable production during warmer weather. Perhaps the most impressive thing about red amaranth is how much visual impact it creates in such a short time. Most vegetables are grown either for beauty or for food. Red amaranth manages to do both. Within a month, a handful of seeds can become a container overflowing with brilliant red foliage that's just as useful in the kitchen as it is attractive in the garden. At number 6, we have water spinach. Few vegetables can match the sheer speed and productivity of this plant. Known throughout much of Asia as one of the easiest leafy greens to grow, water spinach can begin producing harvestable shoots in as little as 20 to 30 days. Once it gets established, growth becomes so vigorous that it often feels like the plant is growing faster than you can harvest it. Unlike many leafy vegetables that are harvested leaf by leaf, water spinach is usually grown for its tender stems and young tips. As the shoots stretch upward, gardeners simply snip off the top few inches and bring them straight to the kitchen. The remarkable part is what happens next. Instead of slowing down, the plant responds by sending out multiple new shoots from below the cut, creating even more harvest opportunities. This natural regrowth habit makes water spinach exceptionally productive in containers. A single planting can provide repeated harvests over a relatively short period of time. With adequate warmth and moisture, new growth appears quickly, allowing gardeners to harvest again and again without starting over. One reason water spinach performs so well is that it thrives in conditions that many other leafy greens dislike. While crops such as spinach and lettuce often struggle as temperatures rise, water spinach loves warm weather. In fact, some of its fastest growth occurs during the hottest part of the growing season. Container gardeners can further boost production by harvesting frequently. Waiting too long allows stems to become tougher, while regular cutting keeps the plant producing fresh, tender shoots. This creates a cycle of continuous growth that can turn a simple container into a surprisingly abundant source of greens. Perhaps the most impressive thing about water spinach is how quickly it recovers after harvesting. Some vegetables require weeks to bounce back. Water spinach often begins replacing lost growth almost immediately. That's one reason it has earned a reputation as one of the most productive leafy vegetables in warm climate gardens around the world. We are now entering our top 5, the absolute fastest and most efficient crops on our entire list. The plants we've covered so far are incredible, but these final 5 operate on a completely different level of speed. Up until now, we've focused entirely on what's happening above the soil. But our next vegetable takes a completely different approach, hiding its rapid growth out of sight until the exact moment you harvest it. At number 5, we have radish. If you've ever wanted proof that vegetables don't have to take months to grow, radishes provide it. While many crops spend weeks developing leaves before producing anything edible, radishes focus their energy underground from the very beginning. The result is one of the fastest root vegetables a gardener can grow, with many varieties ready in just 25 to 30 days. What makes radishes especially satisfying is that you're harvesting an actual root crop rather than simply trimming leaves. In less than a month, tiny seeds transform into colorful, crunchy bulbs hiding just beneath the soil surface. For beginner gardeners, this creates a rewarding sense of accomplishment because the harvest feels substantial despite the short growing period. Radishes are also perfectly suited to containers. They require relatively little space grow well in loose potting soil, and don't need large containers to develop properly. Even a shallow planter can support an impressive number of plants, making them ideal for balconies, patios, and small urban gardens. One of the secrets to growing great radishes is timing. Harvesting at the right moment is important because roots left in the soil too long can become woody or overly spicy. Most gardeners begin checking their crop around the 3-week mark and harvest as soon as the roots reach a desirable size. Another advantage is the speed at which radishes show progress. Seedlings emerge quickly, and within a short time, the tops begin hinting at what's happening below the soil. As the roots expand, the shoulders of the bulbs often become visible above the surface, creating excitement as harvest day approaches. Perhaps the most remarkable thing about radishes is that they've become the benchmark for fast gardening. When people talk about vegetables that grow quickly, radishes are almost always part of the conversation. More than any other root crop, they've proven that a container, a handful of seeds, and a few weeks of patience can be enough to produce a real harvest. At number 4, we have green onions. Most vegetables require you to start from seed and wait weeks before seeing meaningful growth. Green onions can skip much of that process entirely. In fact, one of the fastest ways to grow them is by planting onion sets or even regrowing them from existing bulbs. Under the right conditions, fresh green shoots can be harvested in as little as 20 to 25 days. What makes green onions so appealing is their simplicity. They're compact, adaptable, and useful in countless recipes. From soups and stir-fries to salads and baked potatoes, a handful of freshly harvested green onions can instantly add flavor and freshness to a meal. Having a container of them growing nearby often means you'll never need to buy them from the store again. Container gardening is where green onions truly shine. Because they require very little space, dozens of plants can be grown together in a single pot. Their upright growth habit allows gardeners to maximize production even in the smallest growing areas. A balcony railing planter or shallow container can easily support a steady supply of harvests. One reason green onions grow so quickly is that the harvest doesn't depend on producing large bulbs. Gardeners are primarily interested in the green tops, which develop rapidly after planting. As soon as the leaves reach a useful size, they can be clipped and used in the kitchen. For continuous production, many gardeners harvest only the outer leaves while leaving the base intact. This encourages the plant to continue producing new growth. Others plant small batches every few weeks to ensure an uninterrupted supply throughout the season. Perhaps the most fascinating thing about green onions is their ability to regenerate. Even the white root end left over from cooking can often be replanted and encouraged to grow again. Few vegetables demonstrate the concept of fast, efficient food production quite as clearly as green onions. At number 3, we have pea shoots. If you've never grown them before, pea shoots may completely change the way you think about gardening. Instead of waiting for pea plants to mature and produce pods, gardeners harvest the young shoots themselves. This simple approach dramatically shortens the growing cycle, allowing harvests in as little as 10 to 20 days. Pea shoots are exactly what they sound like: the tender stems, leaves, and growing tips of young pea plants. They offer the sweet, fresh flavor of peas long before the plants ever begin flowering. Many people describe the taste as a concentrated version of fresh garden peas, making them one of the most flavorful, quick-growing crops available. One reason pea shoots have become increasingly popular is their incredible efficiency. Seeds are sown densely in a shallow container, creating a thick carpet of growth. Because the goal is harvesting young shoots rather than mature plants, space can be used much more intensively than in traditional pea production. The growth rate is often astonishing. Within just a few days, seedlings emerge. Soon after, the container becomes filled with delicate green stems reaching toward the light. In less than 3 weeks, many gardeners are already making their first harvest. To maximize yield, harvest the shoots just above a leaf node. This often encourages side shoots to develop, providing a second round of growth before replanting becomes necessary. The result is a remarkably productive crop from a very small amount of space. Perhaps the most surprising thing about pea shoots is how valuable they have become in professional kitchens. Once considered little more than a byproduct of pea cultivation, they're now featured in high-end restaurants around the world. Yet, despite their gourmet reputation, they're among the easiest and fastest crops any container gardener can grow at home. At number 2, we have Mizuna. If you've never heard of this Japanese leafy green before, you're not alone. Despite being one of the fastest-growing salad vegetables in the world, Mizuna remains surprisingly underappreciated outside dedicated gardening circles. Under favorable conditions, gardeners can begin harvesting tender baby leaves in as little as 20 to 25 days, making it one of the quickest container crops on this list. At first glance, Mizuna stands out because of its appearance. The leaves are deeply serrated and feathery, giving the plant a delicate, ornamental look that sets it apart from ordinary lettuce or spinach. Yet, beneath that elegant appearance is a remarkably vigorous grower, capable of producing large amounts of foliage in a very short time. One reason Mizuna grows so quickly is its natural growth habit. Rather than investing energy into forming a large head, the plant focuses on continuously producing leaves from the center. This allows gardeners to start harvesting early while the plant continues generating new growth. In many cases, the first harvest arrives before most traditional salad crops have fully established themselves. Container gardeners especially appreciate how adaptable Mizuna can be. Its root system remains relatively compact, allowing it to thrive in shallow containers, window boxes, and small balcony planters. Even limited growing spaces can support a surprisingly productive crop. A single container can provide enough leaves for multiple salads within just a few weeks of planting. To maximize production, most gardeners harvest the outer leaves first and leave the center untouched. This cut-and-come-again method encourages continuous growth and can significantly extend the harvest period. Instead of getting a single harvest, the same plants often continue producing fresh foliage for weeks afterward. Another advantage is the flavor. Mizuna offers a mild, mustard-like taste with a subtle, peppery kick, making it more interesting than lettuce while remaining much gentler than stronger greens such as arugula. The young leaves are particularly tender and work beautifully in salads, sandwiches, and stir-fries. Perhaps the most impressive thing about Mizuna is how efficiently it turns a handful of seeds into food. Within just a few weeks, a container that began with tiny seedlings can become a dense patch of lush, harvestable greens. For gardeners who want speed, productivity, and a vegetable that's still uncommon enough to surprise their friends, Mizuna is one of the best fast-growing crops you can plant. At number 1, we have microgreens. If the goal is harvesting food as quickly as possible, nothing on this list comes close. While some vegetables take 40 days, 30 days, or even 2 weeks, microgreens can often be harvested in just 7 to 14 days. That's not a typo. In many cases, you'll be eating your harvest before some other vegetables have even finished germinating. Microgreens aren't a single plant. They're a growing method. Vegetables such as broccoli, kale, radish, cabbage, mustard, sunflower, and dozens of others can all be harvested as microgreens shortly after sprouting. Instead of waiting for maturity, gardeners collect the young stems and seed leaves at their peak tenderness. The process is remarkably simple. Seeds are sown densely in a shallow tray, watered consistently, and allowed to grow for about a week or two. Once the seedlings reach a few inches in height, they're cut just above the soil surface and immediately ready to eat. What makes microgreens so impressive isn't just their speed, it's also their productivity. A surprisingly small tray can produce a large amount of fresh greens, making them one of the most efficient crops for limited spaces. Apartment dwellers, balcony gardeners, and even people without outdoor growing areas can successfully grow them. Another reason microgreens have exploded in popularity is their versatility. Different seed varieties create different flavors, colors, and textures. Some are sweet, some are spicy, and others are nutty or earthy. This allows gardeners to experiment with countless combinations while enjoying harvests every couple of weeks. Perhaps the most incredible thing about microgreens is how they redefine the concept of gardening. Most people associate growing food with patience. Microgreens prove that sometimes the fastest harvest is also one of the easiest. In little more than a week, a handful of seeds can become a fresh crop ready for the dinner table. As we've seen throughout this countdown, growing food doesn't always require months of waiting. From colorful baby Swiss chard and tender baby bok choy, to crunchy radishes, flavorful pea shoots, and lightning-fast microgreens, every plant on this list proves that productive container gardening can happen surprisingly quickly. Whether you're gardening on a balcony, a patio, a small backyard, or even a sunny windowsill, these vegetables offer one major advantage: fast results. And for many gardeners, fast results lead to confidence, excitement, and the motivation to keep growing more food. The best part is that you don't need a large garden to get started. A few containers, quality potting mix, and a packet of seeds are often enough to produce your first harvest in a matter of weeks or even days. So if you've been waiting for the perfect crop to start your container garden, one of these 15 vegetables could be exactly what you're looking for. Plant a few today, and your first harvest might arrive sooner than you ever expected.